What's going on YouTube? Casper the Friendly Gamer here, and gonna start doing these pickup videos because that seems to be like what the cool kids are doing. So I recently got into game collecting about a couple months ago, and when I do something, I do it. So I've been pretty much on like a spree lately of just picking up as much stuff as possible, mostly Super Nintendo, PlayStation, PS1. Picked up some pretty sick lots lately. But today was just like a bonkers day for collecting. So I figured this would be a great way to start my YouTube channel and talk a little bit about Southwest Florida Gamers, which is the community that I've just joined. Meant to bring together gamers in our area and sort of create a culture based on friends helping friends, collections growing, everybody looking out for each other, and it's so far just been obscenely fruitful. Every time I go out with these guys to start game hunting, I just fucking go ballistic. And today was absolutely no exception. I went out with them 2 weeks ago, and we hit this like mega haul of PS2 and Game Boy Advanced boxed RPGs, and we were kind of joking about it in the car, like, man, there's no way we're gonna have another score like that. But every time we get together, good things happen. So I got a text last night from my buddy Matt. Wanted to know if I wanted to go to some community sales, and I thought, you know, what the hell, I got nothing better to do, might as well just give it a shot. So woke up nice and early and headed down to a local one, which was about 25-30 minutes away from my house, but really close to them, so pretty convenient. So I drove, no big deal. And first thing that we were able to spot was my buddy Matt. He's not really into PS2 games very much. He's not really like a Sony guy. He's pretty much like straight Nintendo. So I decided to capitalize on this. He spotted this rack that had a bunch of RPGs on it, and they were PS2. First up, we've got Drakengard. And these are, they're all not complete, unfortunately. It's just the box. No manuals, but Drakengard is a Square Enix game, and it's probably going to be good. So, I picked this up. One that I'm really excited to pick up was this. That's Wild Arms 3. Pretty decent game. So I'm really stoked about that one. Looks really, really good. When I put this on my Facebook, like a shit ton of people commented and were like, this game is the nuts. You're going to absolutely love it. So I'm pretty stoked about this. I knew that the franchise is actually pretty sick. So we have this one here. This is Ark the Lad, which this is pretty cool too. It's supposed to be another really interesting franchise. It's kind of cool too because it has a bunch of like EB stickers on it. We used to have an Electronic Boutique here years and years and years ago. So I kind of hope that it's from the same one because that'd be pretty cool to have a little piece of our town's used gaming history. The best one, though, that I found, this is actually one of my favorite games ever, and absolutely love it. I've logged max hours on it multiple times. It's a PS2 title. It's by Genkai, and that is going to be Jade Cocoon 2. I love this game. I actually just bought it off eBay for, like 20-some bucks, because I really, really wanted to play it, and I try to stay off eBay, but this was one of those scenarios where I just really wanted the game, and I almost certainly felt I would never find it out in the wild. Lo and behold, I was an idiot. I was wrong. And so I was able to find this bad boy. If you guys haven't got a chance to play it, it's phenomenal. Really interesting storyline. Graphics are unreal for 2001. The game is so far ahead of its years in terms of the visuals and the aesthetics of it. And it takes place right after the first one, which was a PS1 very underrated classic. A lot of people said it was like a Pokemon ripoff, but it was a million times more in-depth, and the breeding systems are so cool, and you can just have a ton of fun with this game, so highly, highly recommend it. This is my second copy of it now, so I might actually put this up for trade. So we were able to grab those, and she wanted $3 a game. I said, would you take 10 for all of them? And she was happy to do that. I mean, Jade Cocoon 2 being, $20-some loose, and this is pretty sweet having the box. So I felt like I got a great deal on these, and it was a really good sign because right off the bat, you're not dealing with resellers within the first, few minutes of being out there, because we got there at about, the sale started at 8 o'clock. We got there at about 8:15. In 15 minutes, you guys know all the difference when you're dealing with resellers. And really, really, really stoked to see these 4 right off the bat because I'm really getting back into my PS2. And I was one of those WoW addicts for like years and years and years, you know, from like 2005 to about 8 months ago. And it's so liberating to get back into console gaming. I mean, you can't even compare. Like the joy that I've gotten in the last couple of months just playing these games like blows anything out of the water that I've gotten from playing WoW recently. So anyhow, we continued wandering around the sale, and Matt pointed something out to me, which was really cool of him because he could have snagged this for himself, and I wouldn't have blamed him for doing so. But we have a fully functioning GameCube, black. It's got a little bit of dirt on it, but other than that, it's perfect condition. Very, very few scratches, no nicks or anything like that. And it also came with a first-party memory card, which was awesome. I thought that was pretty neat that was just like an extra little thing. It had the cords, but it didn't have a controller. So, you know, I was kind of like, I don't have a controller. You know, when am I going to find one of these out in the wild? I'll probably have to pick one off Amazon or something. But we'll get to that part later. But for $5, I mean, it just had the little $5 sticker on it. And the girl that was selling it, she was like, yeah, I guess $5 is fine. I mean, you put the sticker on it, young lady, you should know better. But I was really happy to pay that. And it turns out our buddy John, who came with us, he's the Flying Dutchman. He'll I'll go ahead and put his channel up later. Put it on the info thing. He snagged a couple of PS1 games, and they actually had a few more things. They were asking $1 on them, which I thought was great. So I picked up Mortal Kombat Trilogy for the PS1, and it's complete in box. These discs are pristine. It literally looks like they took the plastic off of them, and they just put it in a drawer somewhere. The second one is going to be Crash Team Racing, and this game, shit tons of fun. Really happy to get this, and for $1. So I was able to grab these off of the family for $7. You know, so a fully functioning GameCube. I already tested it out just a few minutes ago, and it works great. So I'm super stoked about that. And you know, a couple of pretty good PS1 games. I mean, I definitely dig Mortal Kombat. And Crash Team Racing is like bitchin'. It's a really sweet game. So pretty stoked about that. So I'm already feeling fantastic. You know, I've got my couple of bags full of stuff, and you know, feeling pretty good. And there's another community sale about 15 minutes away. So we, you know, hey, what the hell? Let's go to it. And it was a total bust. It said like 50 families or something. We went all around and we got the same thing to every one of them. Like, oh, we sold our video games last year. We sold our video games at the last sale. Oh, we don't have video games. Oh, sorry. You know, and some of them were like laughing at us, like, you know, oh, you guys collect those. So the sale just kind of like sucked, and I already felt great. You know, I had snagged a few things. John snagged a few things. It's kind of sad that Matt didn't snag anything, but if this day would have ended there, I'd have been like, hey, you know, this wasn't bad. You know, got some sweet PS2 games, sweet PS1 games, got a GameCube because I didn't own one. So, you know, not bad. There was another sale like pretty far away. It was like a 25-minute drive. And I was kind of like, I don't really want to make that whole drive. John had to actually be somewhere. He had to be at work within like an hour and a half from where we were at. So pretty much was just like, you know, like I guess, you know, we can go to it. Nothing else to do for the next hour or so. But we figured we were like, we got to blow through this pretty quickly. So, oh, side note, I completely forgot something. I'm an idiot. We did go to this flea market thing like at the beginning of the day. We literally just walked in there for like 2 minutes. But I asked every vendor, like every time I go to a garage sale or a flea market or something, I always ask, hey, do you have video games? Because like this over here, that's like, you know, a bunch of Super Nintendo stuff that I've picked up and, you know, all these consoles and whatnot recently. I've picked these up just by asking people, you know, hey, do you guys have anything? You know, and my answers are always like, oh yeah, you guys collect that? We didn't know. We thought people, you know, hated that shit. And I always will see a garage, you know, full of stuff, you know, with, oh, that's my cat slamming into shit. You know, tons of just random things that they just thought, hey, they're old, people probably don't want them anymore. And, you know, so we go to this little flea market thing. It's just like 2 minutes out of our way. Nothing there. I ask a guy, hey, you have any video games? He says, you know, hey, I got these. Turns out it was a bunch of DVDs. Like, he had no clue what he was selling at all. But this guy next to him, he goes, yeah, you guys like video games? He goes, what kind of stuff? And I go, well, we kind of like older things, you know, Nintendo, Sega, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, you know, Sega. And he's like, Sega. He's like, well, I got a big box. I buy storage lockers. I got a big box of Sega Saturn stuff. So we're like, okay, that's what's up. So he's like, well, hey, give me your number and I'll give you mine. You call me later. So sure, gives me the number. So we're giddy for this one. We're like, hey, hopefully he is not one of those people that you call and he just doesn't answer and then he doesn't sell anything. He looks up the stuff because he sees that people are interested and you just get hosed and it's like, fuck, we got screwed. So, anywho, so we go to this sale that's like way out of the way, and the first couple houses, they're like, nope, no video games, nope, no video games. And we just start like throwing it out there. We're like, fuck it, we're going to every house, like, whatever. So we go over to this house with this really, really old ass guy and his like really petite Asian wife, and he's like this old, grizzled white dude, and just this, like this. It looked like a sitcom. So we just go up to them, and John goes, hey, do you guys have any old video games? And he looks at us and he goes, yep, I do. I've got them. I got a Nintendo. I got a Sega Genesis too. I got all that stuff. And we're like, that's what you get when you ask. Because the first couple people we went to, we got the whole like, oh yeah, somebody was here asking about video games. But you can tell sometimes like you'll look at a person and you'll just judge the book by its cover immediately. You'd be like, grizzly white guy and cute Asian old wife. No, they definitely don't have anything. So we asked, hey, what the hell, why not? And turned out to be like a little bit of a home run. So he goes in and he grabs, this box of stuff. And the first thing is this Nintendo. I got all the hookups set up over there. I tested it. It works. Thank God. I was nervous that it wasn't, but John was right. These son bitches can survive the Holocaust and the apocalypse and the nuclear war all in one. And it came with the bonus game. Yeah. The obligatory Mario Duck Hunt. Which, hey, I didn't own an NES prior to this. I didn't own Mario, so hey, I'll take it. It's a freebie. Done and done. I already had the Genesis she brought out. She brought out a Model 2, and, I've got a Model 2, and I decided, like, nah, I don't need another one. She wanted $20 for it, too, but, I mean, that's a little, for, I bought mine for 20, so I don't really need another one. But she was willing to sell us the games. The games weren't anything special. It's a complete in-box Miss Pac-Man, which is kind of cool. And then a complete in-box triple score, which I looked this one up. I didn't realize like complete in-box is like a $10 game, which is kind of cool. I didn't really think that it would be worth anything. I just figured it'd be like, hey, a couple box titles, to add to the library. I'm slowly building a Genesis collection, which I'm actually getting kind of proud of. It's all just good titles so far right now. I don't really have any filler or chafe. So it's kind of like cool to be able to grab any game and just get a good time out of it. But I'll definitely be expanding on it sooner. There's a store about an hour and 10-minute drive away from us, and they have like, they're not gougers, they're resellers, but they sell, all those random Genesis filler titles for like 99 cents. So you go there and, spend $20 and pick up 20 Genesis titles, so it's pretty sick. So I was really happy to get those. And then she also had this, which is kind of strange. It didn't have the system or anything. It's a boxed Advance Wars. It's got the manual and everything, but it doesn't just have Advance Wars. When we opened it, Advance Wars wasn't in it, but yeah, that's right, I threw it. I don't give a shit. A Mario Kart Super Circuit was in it, which is kind of neat, because this game actually was a lot of fun. I remember playing this when I was younger. So, unfortunately, I don't have Advance Wars, but, I mean, it's not a super uncommon game. It shouldn't be hard to find it loose. And then when I do, I've got the box and the manual for it. So, that's kind of neat. So, for all this... Oh, also, yeah, the Nintendo came with 2 controllers, which were in, like, perfect condition. They're a little yellow, as time affects them. One of them was actually yellow. The other one was pretty much, like, gray. So, I was pretty surprised. This one is in, like, really good shape. The buttons are fantastic. There's, nothing to clean up off of them. The D-pads are great. And then the last thing that was kind of cool, which I didn't realize this is like a $10 controller, it's a turbo pad for the Nintendo. And it looks and works great, which we thought it might be broken, but I actually just tried it out, and it was working fine. It's a little bit loose. I'm going to have to try to figure out how to tighten these up. I'll watch some tutorial videos or whatever. But that was really cool. So, the 3 controllers, the Nintendo with all the hookups, and the Advance Wars box and manual, and the Mario, I got all of it for $15. She wanted 10 for the Nintendo, and No, what was it? Yeah, 10 for the Nintendo, and then 2 for each Genesis game, and then just $1 for the Mario Advance. So for $15, I get a system that I don't have with all the hookups that works with a free game in it, with 2 box Genesis games and the Mario. Like, so I'm on like cloud nine right now. I'm having the best day. I feel really, really good. I mean, as a new collector, these are the kind of days that like blow you away. You're just super stoked. So we pretty much go to another house, and it's got some game stuff sitting out, and nothing really jumps out at me. But we grab a few things, and we ask the guy that's there, hey, what do you want for? He had a copy of Dynasty Warriors, which is a good game. It's complete in box. He had a copy of Power Rangers Dino Thunder for the Advance, which I read a couple reviews on it real quick. I always like check out games after I buy them, and it's supposed to be pretty fun. So I was happy to get that. And then this is how we solved our controller problem. He had a third-party Mad Catz GameCube controller, and he said, "I'll take $5 for the game, the 2 games, and the controller." I was like, "Hey, that's killer." So I solved my controller problem instantly. So for $5, we get it all. So we're kind of winding down with that guy, and I just say like, "Hey, is there any chance that you have like any older stuff? Any N64 or Nintendo or Sega stuff?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got that." Yells in the house at his kid. He's like, "Hey, get your ass out of here! Somebody wants to buy that Nintendo." So the kid comes out. He just has a couple of games, and he had a few N64 games sitting out. But I wanted Matt to get something like finally and he found a copy of Snowboard Kids and Turok 1 and Mario 64, I believe, and I think it may be Donkey Kong 64 as well. So he's feeling good. So the kid brings out the N64 and a couple of games. One of them being Smash Brothers. So John swoops right in on it, grabs it, which I don't own that title, but he didn't either. And I was having such a stellar day. I'm not even gonna complain. I was like, dude, take it, please. I want you guys to have these things. Like, I wish they found more things. I have to remember, as a new collector, they already have all this stuff. But I'm like that kid, I want all my friends to have the same stuff that I do. I think that's like the coolest part of game collecting, is like sharing those moments with your friends when they have a big score too. So kid brings out the N64. He doesn't. It's beat to shit. And I look at it and I'm like, check for an expansion pack. Like, what if there's one there? So I check, boom, expansion pack there. I say, hey man, I said, I know you don't really, you probably don't want to, but is there any way you'd sell that expansion pack? The kid does not give a shit. He's like, no, I don't care. So we pull it out. We have to get the pliers, and we do the old needle nose to it. And I was like, what do you want for it? He's like, I don't know, man. He's like, how much you want to sell or buy it for? I was like, I don't know, like $5. And he's like, sure. I didn't have an expansion pack. Now I do. So for $5, nailed it, and super excited for that one, because I picked up this here, I'll show you guys. Picked up a pretty sweet lot. La 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 la. Let's dance together. We're close. Now we're not close. I picked up a pretty sweet lot of N64 games. You got your Diddy Kongs here. These are all my Nightmare Before Christmas things too. Pretty sweet. But things like Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time. But it was like a huge lot. All these games right here, you see, except for a few of them I picked up at a separate lot. But so I couldn't play them, and I was like, snap on that. So really, really stoked to have gotten that expansion pack, especially for so cheap. There's this one reseller lady who is, I think she's batshit insane. She has like 3 or 4 of them, and every time we ask her, like, hey, how much for your expansion pack? She's like, oh, that'll be like $30. I'm like, fuck you, lady. So getting this for $5 today was another just fucking home run. So again, like, this is everything we've gone over. My camera skills suck. So I already feel like fan-fucking-tastic. Like, the day can't get better. Or can it? Day gets better. So we go to another one that has a couple of just video games, a couple of like Xbox 360 and Wii ones. And we ask again, like, hey, any chance at old video games? The dad immediately looks at me, turns around, walks behind it like this table thingy, pulls these giant garbage bags out. He's like, yeah, I've got N64 and GameCube stuff. We're like, thanks for playing. So they grab a couple of N64 games, and I start grabbing the GameCube stuff, and I look at, Matt and John, they're like, dude, we already have it. Like, it's all yours. So I'm like, holy shit, I'm in hog heaven. So these kids, like, they just don't care. They want to. They don't. I mean, obviously they don't play them. They have the 360. They have the Wii. They don't. They don't need these games. So game on, kids. So first off, we've got a Mario Party 4, and this one doesn't have the thing. In fact, it has a Mario Party 7 in it. And we were like, man, I wonder what happened to Mario Party 4. Well, that problem can be solved by this one right here. So we have a Mario Party 7 with Mario Party 4 in it. So, pretty happy to get these. Mario Party games are fucking sweet. Close, damn. There we go. But then it gets better because these kids are just pulling out games. We get a Mario Superstar Baseball. It's a pretty cool game. All these Mario games are awesome. Especially the Super Sluggers and all that. So then we get this one now. Super Mario Strikers. And you can sense the theme here. It's Mario games galore. This one has a little bit of the paraphernalia in it, but it doesn't have the manual. But, the discs are just gorgeous. All of them are gorgeous. Like, you could tell these kids, like, took really good care of their games, or they just didn't fucking play them. So, they're, whatever, my benefit. A Mario Kart Double Dash, which this one actually was complete. Next one is To Sex. We've got complete copy Mario Sunshine. So it could have stopped there. But it didn't, because the kid brought out another game. He's like, oh, what about this one? You want this one? I do want this one. This one being Super Smash Bros. Melee. It's a pretty decent game. It's gone down in price a little bit. It was around the 40 to 45 range. It's dropped down to about 30, 32. But still, just a great find. And especially, I don't even have any GameCube stuff at the beginning of the day. By the end of the day, I have a semi-respectable mini library, a GameCube, all the cables, it works, a memory card, first party, and a controller. So we're good, right? Feeling fat and sassy. I feel good. I feel delicious. Here's a couple little things too, by the way. I have a friend of mine. She's getting out of the 3DS a little bit, so she sold me a couple games for $10 in a Taco Bell quesadilla. Super Street Fighter 4, and this was a good one. Super Mario 3D Land. So pretty happy to get those because I'm actually going to be picking up a 3DS like very soon after I get my bills paid next week. Everything will be done. I'll be paid up throughout November, and I could spend a little bit of cheddar, and I'm going to spend it on some 3DS stuff. Definitely going to get Pokemon XY. So around noon, we're all finished up. I have, just gone crazy. I feel great about my haul. I feel fantastic about how the days went. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to take a little nap now before work. And get a phone call from Carlton, the guy from earlier. He says, hey, you guys want to come by in a couple hours and pick up some of that stuff? And we're like, this day actually just keeps getting better. So I come home, take a little nap, get cleaned up, head on down, meet John, because Matt has to go to a wedding. And we go to the guy's house, and boom, right off the bat, giant box of PS2 stuff, giant box of PS1 stuff, giant box of Sega Saturn stuff, and a boxed Sega Saturn. The box is in mediocre condition. So he goes, well, what do you guys want to spend on this Saturn? And I never like to insult people. I mean, half the fun in game chasing is making these offers, getting these games for cheap. Because I'm not a reseller. I just want to have these games. I want to take them out of people's garages or closets, and I want to have fun with them. Like, that's the whole purpose. I want to share them with my friends. We have game parties. Like, I just want to have fun, So I said, man, because John just bought one, I guess, for about, I think, $30 or $40. So I don't want to insult the guy. I said, well, hey, John just bought one for about $30, $40. I said, that's probably where I'm going to be at, and then obviously we'll scale up because of the games and whatnot. So at that point, he goes, well, I just looked on eBay, and I saw that in the box with 20 games, it was going for about $200. So that leads me to believe that, we could go two ways with this. One, you could tell the guy, like, well, yeah, but that's 21 games, and, each of those games is worth X amount of dollars, so the system is still probably worth 50. Now we would hose ourselves with the games. Or I could have told him, like, hey, maybe there was, like, one really expensive game in there, like a Shining Force or something. But then he might think like, hey, maybe I have a Shining Force. Maybe I should check the price of all these games just to be safe. So we decided to cut our losses and just make a pile of stuff. And I'm not going to tell you what John got. I'm sure he's going to do his own pickup video because he did pretty well today himself. So basically, we pulled aside about, I think it was 15 games. We pulled aside 15 games. And there were no good PS2 ones. Unfortunately, they were almost all exclusively sports titles and wrestling games. And not the good ones, like, it was like Raw vs. SmackDown 2007, like, kind of like passe games and whatnot. Couple good PS1 games, and then the sexiness of the Saturn games. So, what we did... hello again. So, what we decided to do was we offered the guy, hey, we'll buy these games from you, at least. And he goes, yeah, that sounds good to me. Like, and I go, well, what do you want to do per game? And he goes, well, how about $2 a game? Well, fuck me, yes. So we ended up grabbing pretty much everything that we knew was good and whatnot. And even though I don't have a Saturn right now, John was very gracious in, hooking me up with some of the game, like at least one of them that I really, really wanted out of the lot. Because, we know this one reseller guy, he has a Model 1 and a Model 2 Saturn, he's selling them for $50. I'll just give him some trade-ins or whatever, and, get the Saturn off of him so I can play some of these. But what I ended up getting was just so cool for me. So we'll start off with just the PS stuff first. I got a copy of Vigilante 8, and these are complete, and they're perfect. They are in gorgeous fucking condition. Like literally, they still have the plastic on the top for where you got to peel it off to play the game. The discs look like they've never ever been touched. Just beautiful, and Twisted Metal 2, easily one of my favorite games on the PS1. As I'm sure many of you enjoyed. It's just so much fun. It's probably the second best entry into the series. Arguably the first. Mine is Twisted Metal Black, but I easily can see the argument for 2 being fantastic. I'll probably do like some sort of fun video about Twisted Metals because it is, I would say it's safe to say it's my favorite game franchise of all time. So, getting those for $2 each was just a no-brainer. Absolutely awesome. So then we hooked this one up. It's just a jewel-cased Virtua Cop 2. But it's a not for resale version, which I don't know if that makes it worth more money. If anybody knows, like, hey, let me know. But then afterwards, I'll save that one for last. The first game, and these are all complete in box. Sonic 3D Blast, gorgeous shape. All these games, not a nick or not a crack or anything in any of the cases. Starfighter, which I really like space shooters. I'm like a huge space shooter fan. That's why I love the Super Nintendo so much because that's so many good space shooters. Like EDF and like Darius Twin. Like I love those. So then we have this one, which looks so much fun. Scud, which seems really cool. The Disposable Assassin. The back looks really cool on it. Will kill for money. It seems like really hokey, really over the top. I love those kind of games. I was a huge fan of the Loaded franchise when I was a kid for PS1 because of how just ridiculous and trying to be insane and sometimes trying too hard. But that's the best kind sometimes when you're just trying way too hard. And then this one right here, Solar Eclipse, which looks like another action mixed in with this, which is pretty sweet. Over 40 minutes of full motion video starring Claudia Christensen, Christian, who I have no clue who that fuck that is. But it's another space shooter, and I dig those. And this was the one that really got me excited because I've heard 2 different, things about this game. I've heard it's either one of the best on the Saturn, or people just didn't give a shit about it. But you can't deny the fact that it's pretty much like a cult, hit, and that's Nights into Dreams. And it's beautiful. Complete, just awesome looking. You look at the back of it, and it just gets you excited to play this, Like, I'm really excited about this. I already contacted our reseller buddy about hooking up with a Saturn, and he's already on board with it, so I'm going to be able to start playing these suckers soon. But this was my day today, and I can't say that I did bad. And, for just a random Saturday that I decided, like, hey, what the hell, why not? I think I scored pretty big. So I'm going to try to do these about once a week, once every 2 weeks, maybe, even some extras in between. lists, all sorts of fun stuff. I'm a Magic the Gathering writer. For those of you that don't know, I write for StarCityGames.com and talk a lot about Magic as well. So if you guys have any questions